Hey everyone, today I'm going to talk all about body dysmorphia, body image fears, my journey with this, all the compulsions, all the avoidance behaviors, all the urgency to make changes in your workout programs, urgencies to go to the doctor, maybe if you want to get surgery, and everything else in between. Body dysmorphia, whether you call it that or not, it doesn't really matter. It's the fear surrounding the conditional self-acceptance, the fear of, I will never be able to accept myself. It is 100% terrible if other people reject me and everything else in between. So, hope you guys enjoy this video. It will be a little bit of a longer one. I'm going to cover everything I have on the whiteboard behind me and go into a lot of detail on each particular topic. But before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button, comment down below. Let me know if this is something you have struggled with. If you want to learn more about our webinar and coaching services, we just updated our list, so now we have all the webinars planned for all of January, all the way up to the beginning of February at info@ocdrecovery.com, and we will get back to you in a timely manner. And again, I have a birthday webinar coming up that we're going to be doing for free with 70 spots, so come over. It's going to be filled quickly, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. My birthday video is going to, webinar is going to cover my journey. You're going to get to know me a little bit more. I'm going to talk about my background, how I got to where I am today, and everything else in between. So, let's jump right into it. The most important part about recovering from a body image related fear, we'll just call it body image related fear, is acceptance doesn't mean agreement. So it doesn't mean that you can't do things like, we're not saying, because people go the other way. They say, well, I'm not going to wear makeup anymore. I'm never going to go to the gym again. That's not what we mean. That's going from one side of the coin to the other. What we mean is you can do things to make yourself look better by going to the gym if you want to get certain type of cosmetics done. But if it's coming from the belief system that you must do this in order to accept yourself, which it is, unfortunately, 99.9% of the time, that's the angle that people are coming from. It's never going to give you the relief you're looking for. You might get a hit of relief, a minor relief, but you're never going to get the long-term relief you're looking for. So this is so key because most people completely go off the philosophy of agreement means acceptance. That's how they live their life. Oh, in order for me to like you, that, you have to agree with me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's a very important thing to cover. Daisy just came in the room. She wanted to join us. I'll show my dog at the end. That will be really, really cool. So who does this apply to? This applies to anyone who's struggling with conditional acceptance. Okay, if you want to learn more about that, the book's on the reading list, ocdrecovery.com, underneath the resource tab, especially book number 3. This applies to anyone who has body dysmorphia, body image, and I'm not just talking about bodybuilding in specific. I'm going to go into a lot of detail with that one and why the bodybuilding industry can be really, really unhealthy and a dire need for control over the way you look and your macros, aka your calories and your programming. But it also goes into people that have, I've worked with people, oh, I'm afraid my toes are angled the wrong way. My nose is too big. My jaw isn't good enough. I'm too fat. I'm too skinny. So it's anything that can pertain to this deep related fear of not being able to accept yourself, not accepting the way that you feel, and everything else in between. And it obviously applies to obsessive compulsive disorder. I always tell people, lose the terminology. We have too many terms out there. People are completely self-identified to a diagnosis or something. You're just a person who has a particular fear and a set of compulsions and avoidance behaviors that you're doing to keep the cycle alive, reassurance behaviors, and so forth. So, my story. So I took steroids for a really long time, probably for almost 4 years on and off, maybe 5 years. I took everything from all the different types of, injectable testosterone to anabolic, pills such as D-bol and Anavar and Winstrol and all the other, anyone who knows about steroids will understand what I'm saying. Just know this, I've taken a lot of steroids in my life. And obviously having OCD, had really bad BDD, body dysmorphic disorder, and GAB. But again, I just use this for terminology of the video. The diagnoses don't actually matter. The titles don't matter. It's a fear. What's the core fear? Breaking it down with time and patience, consistency, bringing down your behaviors, and educating yourself with how real it feels, because it feels so real. Like when you look in the mirror and you have body dysmorphia, and it's in the bodybuilding sense, it will absolutely convince you that you are the fattest person on earth. It does not matter. It's so good at convincing. That's why it's called the Great Mimicker. And that's my story. And, I grew up in New Jersey around a culture of, that bro, beach. I worked at the Jersey Shore cast. If this ever finds any of them, it's great to see all of you again. I work with them all the seasons they were there. Was very, very orange, was injecting melanin. I literally was this color, was injecting it with insulin needles into my stomach. Besides all the steroids, I was very unhealthy. I was drinking a lot. I was doing drugs. I basically was in a really... it felt really great at the time. I didn't realize how strong my irrational beliefs were kind of forming, these really strong irrational beliefs. And all I cared about was all the other addictions I had, like addictions with sex addiction and pornography and all the other aspects that kind of led into this like deeply rooted conditional self-acceptance. If you would have asked me what my values were between the ages of 17 and 21, my values were to basically, to have sex and be a very, very instant gratification lifestyle, which again, you could accept yourself when you do that. It just doesn't have the long-term benefits if you decrease those behaviors. So I made the decision to change a lot about myself with this, which was not easy. So then you have the common compulsions, which are right here. So Daisy's underneath me, she's a brat. This is what she loves to do. If you haven't watched my videos, Daisy's my pit bull. She's like the most needy pit bull ever. I love her. So these are some of the compulsions. There are many. Avoiding clothes and mirrors. You're avoiding clothes that make you feel too revealing or too fat. You're avoiding mirrors and/or you're checking mirrors all the time. So I did both. I avoided mirrors and I would recheck angles in mirrors. So that was a big one. I avoided food. I was either binging or I was avoiding. This is something that we see all the time. So I would go from, I'm not going to track my calories to I'm going to track my calories really meticulously. No one on the planet, nobody needs to use MyFitnessPal ever. There's no point. You can lose weight by being intuitively, but people are so scared of losing control. If you look at programs, weightlifting programs or nutritional apps, they are designed based off of control and perfectionism. That is an irrefutable fact. Can they be used non-compulsively? Sure. Is that of this small of a percentage compared to, yes, it's not. It's used from a control. If you told people it has to go away, they would argue with you. They wouldn't want to do it. It's because it gives them a sense of control, but they have absolutely no control in the way they imagine. Things can go wrong. They can break their leg and they can't go to the gym and then they gain a bunch of weight or they lose a bunch of muscle and they freak out. So scales and calipers. No need to use scales. No need to use calipers ever. This is very difficult for the bodybuilding world to hear because they base their entire worth off the way they look. I know many people who are professional. I have professional bodybuilder friends. I have PB Pro professional bodybuilder friends, professional USAPL powerlifting friends, and have talked to people all throughout the research world. So, all the top researchers. One of my buddies, a researcher in Tampa. What you notice is it is a life of absolute dire perfection. We're arguing over how many grams of a supplement we need. Like, it's 4.2, it's 4.4. It's insane. It's insane. It's totally crazy. When you get to the other side of it, you start to realize how much people are not actually living their lives. They're just living in this like perpetuated realm of I need things to be perfect. It's so problematic. Now that was more like bodybuilding, fitness, and that was, trust me, that's not all of them. Changing your programs compulsively, going from bodybuilding to powerlifting to CrossFit. That's what I did. Constantly looking up research on programming, constantly looking for the best new innovation. Changing your hair, changing your style, quick, immediate. Hair colors, cosmetic surgeries, everything else in between. It all comes from a sense of urgency. It's not just the fear, it's the urgency that it brings. I can't stand the way I'm feeling. It feels so real. Make a change. It's that compulsive nature of how that works. Health products and health lifestyle. Okay, let me pull my chair in here a little bit. We have lost our minds as a society, haven't we? Innovation is amazing. Traditions are amazing. Looking for new ways to ease pain is amazing, and technology. But there is definitely a scale, and we have absolutely tipped it to unhealthy. I can name 3 people who are quite famous right now on YouTube, on all the big podcasts, the Rogans, the Mind Theory, by Tom Bilyeu, the Petersons. Totally, completely perfectionistic and unhealthy. I get asked about these people a lot. People know what I do, being a chiropractor. People are like, what do you think about so-and-so? And I say, I just don't really follow him. I think he's too perfectionistic. He's not really living, in my opinion. what? Like, it's so cool. It's very cool. That's something that's awesome. You're talking to a major nerd. Okay, you don't want me to get nerdy on you. I'm a nerd. But I have nerd qualities. I like that right there. Corrected myself on that. But it's completely out of control. You sleep when you sleep. Eat the foods you want to eat. If you're overweight, you want to lose some weight, balance that, cut your calories, go to the gym a little bit more, walk a little bit more. That's all we need to know. Nothing more, nothing else. Anything more than that becomes a huge problem for people. I know because I was there. I know what it's like. It takes over your entire fucking life. Your whole life becomes like the perfect amount of sleep, the perfect amount of exercise, the perfect amount of this. These people are not fun to hang out with, all right? If I was with one of these people and I was like, yo, let's go get some sick-ass chicken parm pizza. No, man, like, I can't do that. Like, I gotta sleep. I gotta do that. Yeah, balance is great, but you gotta live a little bit. You are going to die. You will die. Death in the ground. Cremation. Dead. Cancer. Heart attack. You are gonna die, okay? Please. It is important to break this stuff down. Whether you break it down or not is unfortunately up to you. You know, I can just educate you on my journey and all the mistakes I made, which is all of these. The surgeries, like I said, and now social media. Social media is a yin-yang. It's not inherently bad. It's not inherently good. It's like alcohol. Good for some people, good for not. My other dog just knocked the camera. So now they're both in here being bratty. So no need to ever have a filter. Ever. Never. Filter is always conditional self-acceptance. There is no way that I'm going to believe someone when they go, yeah, but I just like the way it looks. Okay? I won't use the word always, but I'll say it's as close to always as you can get. Looking for the right quotes, taking photos multiple times. Just take the photo. If you don't look good in that photo, post the photo. It's not the end of the world. You don't look good in that photo. We all have angles where we don't look good. You know, people are like, oh my God, look at this stomach. We're like, oh my God. I know how obsessive this can be. And then you argue and you go, no, bodybuilding is life. The gains are life. And no, I got to look great. But it's a problem. It's a major, major problem. So I've been waiting. If you haven't noticed, I'm hyped up in this video because I've been waiting to talk about this topic for a long time. All right, Daisy, I'll move this way. So how do you actually recover from these particular things? Well, number one is you got to bring down the behaviors and have balance. I think it's very hard to balance exercise if you struggle with it, if you're going every single day. You know, I work out. I've tried this a million times. I work out with weights 3 days a week. I hike on the weekends. I do some other walking with my dogs every day. That's about it. If I go any more than that, it becomes too compulsive, and then I don't want to do certain things. I don't want to eat certain foods. I'm always like, oh, am I going to gain too much weight, et cetera, and it just becomes this nightmare. That's super important. Next is looking at the behaviors. So we have the A, B, C, D, E's. The activating events plus the belief systems equal the consequence, which has two parts, behaviors and emotions. And then you have the D for disputing those beliefs and your effective new philosophy. So let's go with a body image one. Okay, let's just use that one. If I'm fat or skinny or have no muscle, that's 100% awful. Feeling fat, keyword feeling fat, is 100% horrible. I didn't actually mind so much gaining weight. I gained 40 pounds before I went to the mental hospital. I'm only 5'7". Okay, I'm not tall. 40 pounds I was like, my face looked like this. It wasn't so much the way I looked. I just didn't like the way I feel. It felt gross to me. I can't stand looking this way. I must look different. It's horrible to be rejected. I must be attractive. Attraction, sex, great parts of life, pleasurable parts of life, not necessary for survival. Then you get the crew that are like, oh, well, we don't reproduce. And, people just, they push the goalposts over and over and over again to do everything they can to not work on unconditional self-acceptance, because unconditional self-acceptance is really, really difficult. And it's hard because we work in this conditional realm. So D is where you dispute. So there's a couple disputing questions. So let's use the one about not being attractive, because that kind of can encompass the bodybuilding and encompasses like a body problem, like, you lose an arm or something, or like you have a crooked nose, and all that stuff. So where is the evidence to prove that it's 100% awful? Okay, there's no evidence to prove it's 100% awful. There's evidence to show that it's not pleasurable and you're missing out on things in life, but it's not 100% horrible. What is the worst case scenario? You are not attractive. Whoever you're attracted to no longer finds you attractive. They don't want to be with you anymore. They think you're ugly. You lose out on these great pleasures in life. So that's definitely a huge part of it as well. That's an important part to cover. But on the other side of your worst case scenario lies your freedom, because breaking down your worst case scenario is how you actually move towards that with unconditional self-acceptance. And that's so important. So my effective new philosophy is a mixture of preferences and taking away my demands. So let me tell you the exact preference that I needed to develop. I would really prefer to be muscular. I really like the feeling of being muscular. I really want to have a good physical physique. I like the way it makes me feel, but but it's not 100% necessary. I don't need it. I think I'm at a point in my life right now where if I could never work out again, I definitely would not like that. Remember, agreement doesn't mean acceptance, but I could learn how to live with it. And I just would, find something else. Maybe I start writing a lot more books, or maybe I, start another business or something. And maybe I become a DJ. I've always thought about that. I've always wanted to be a techno DJ. I have a very, very unique ear for it, probably because I've been to 30 music festivals and numerous shows and have no hearing. So that's the main thing. It's about, your effective new philosophy is how you actually instill the disputing beliefs. If you want to learn more about this, the first book on the reading list, How to Stop and Refuse to Make Yourself Miserable, about anything, yes, anything, and that's how you break it down. Understand that this will take time. Understand that it's all based off conditional self-acceptance. Understand there's nothing inherently wrong with surgeries. And yes, I know I said it before, but you can use filters, but it is as close to needing conditional self-acceptance as you can get. I think you're better off never using a filter. I think you're better off not posting selfies on Instagram in general, because there's no need to post a selfie ever in your life, unless you're doing it from a purpose of explaining the potential detriments of posting selfies. But that's the world we live in. Most people won't change. That's completely okay. Daisy's barking. Is at the door. Let's walk up and see Daisy at the end. I saw that. Show her. Daisy, this is what she does. She loves to bark, and there's snow outside, so I don't know why they want to go outside. So getting a dog was really important for me. I got Daisy. What are you two doing? This is Milo. He's talk about body image problems. We went to the vet, and the vet said he was 20 pounds overweight, and Erica was like, "Oh, whose fault is that?" "Oh, me. I give him peanut butter all the time." Look, I open the door. Ready? Door open. You bark at the door, and then you don't go anywhere. And then you break my screen. You can see all the holes in my backyard. Milo was chasing something right there. I don't know what he was doing. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, it's and I still do things. I still take creatine every day, 5 grams of creatine, because there is benefits to taking creatine, right, from the amount that I exercise and stuff like that. I'm I'll take supplements for 6 months and I forget for 3 years. But I enjoy the foods in my life. Like I got this. These are homemade banana bread cookies that my mother-in-law gave me. They're crack. We had two things of these like a week ago, and now we have half of one. 100% my fault. I got chewy bars. I eat pasta. Gummy worms. And I still eat healthy. Last night I had chicken, rice, beans, and pico, and a little bit of cheese. But I have other stuff too. Like I got my snow cider right here. I love a snow cider. That's great. And got all my meat and everything like that. And I just keep it balanced. I mean, look, I got this. You know who you are. I got this from someone I work with at OCD Recovery. They bought me a cigar. That's one of the things I do like to do every once in a while, is smoke a cigar, even though my wife says it tastes like absolute shit. And I definitely, look, as you could tell, we like coffee. My wife just bought this coffee machine. Obviously, Rob gifted it to me for my birthday. Thank you so much, Rob. That was very nice of you. But yeah, we got all these great vanilla syrups, and you just got to realize that you're going to die. You know what I mean? The balance is key. If anyone is saying to you oh, you can't have this, this is what sells. These 5 foods will kill you. Run from those videos. They are so problematic for human psychology. Thank you so much for watching this. If you have any questions, ask down below. If you want to see more videos like this, me walking around, I know everyone likes this, just let me know. And remember, info@ocdrecovery.com, and have a great day.